Welcome back to Uplink. I'm Andrew Hamilton.
Yes.
He is.
I'm Royden Ogletree.
Royden Ogletree. You guys get it by now.
Yeah.
We're the only place on the internet where you can find out about gaming news that's already happened and or is happening. You don't know. Don't look it up. We got a lot of topics to go through this week. There's many delays, unfortunately. It's the delay ocalypse. We're in the middle of delay ocalypse. It's going to happen. We knew it was going to happen.
Did we, though?
I mean, I didn't know these were going to happen, but I knew that some were going to happen.
Right.
I knew that we were going to have problems.
I mean, eventually, inevitably, things like with video games,
Yeah.
with taxes and death, video games will get delayed.
If it's not out in your hand already, it's delayed.
Yeah.
That's how I view it.
Okay, that's very...
It's delayed till it releases.
Right, absolutely.
We'll have a few game announcements, a little bit about the Modern Warfare 2 beta, a disappointing project from a former, I guess, active director, whatever, director, and then some NFL.
Former promising director.
Yeah, a guy that I used to enjoy the craft that he did. But
Yeah.
I mean, I guess I still do enjoy it. It doesn't matter. So yeah, let's just hop into it. So first up on the docket, we unfortunately have to announce, you'll hear it here first, not anywhere else. They definitely didn't put out a press release about this.
We aren't reacting to this a couple days late.
Yeah. Midnight Suns, Marvel's Midnight Suns has been delayed into 2023. Was due out in October, and now we're looking at first quarter 2023.
How excited were you for this one? I wasn't. I know you were more excited about it than I was. I couldn't care less.
Yeah, so it's weird because I don't typically like the XCOM style games. Like, I'm not big on the hyper strategic, go through, do this, that kind of stuff. I like stuff that happens in real time. I don't like turn-based strategy very often. But there was something about the concept here, the gameplay, the way that you interact with there's like RPG-esque elements and how your superhero character that you create, the hunter, gets to interact with some of these famous superheroes. There was a lot of really cool stuff going on, and what's stranger is that we had a pretty high-quality playable demo in the hands of the media not too long ago, and this kind of feels like it came out of nowhere. Like, there was no indications, really.
They didn't really give an indication about like why it was delayed either.
Yeah, it was pretty much like, hey, for quality's sake, we're gonna delay out. Now, one of the rumors is that, and this is more speculative than anything else, is that perhaps the advent of God of War Ragnarok's release date and it now being the only major big AAA title coming out at the end of the year is forcing some people to reconsider where their sales go.
Yeah.
Because it would make sense to move it to Q1 when there's not already something dominating that space. And there's a lot of, because what happened this year is a bunch of games that were supposed to come out the previous fall got pushed to Q1.
All kind of came out within like the same week of each other. I mean, the big one was Elden Ring.
Yeah,
and,
Elden Ring and Horizon both came out
within a week
of each other.
Yeah, that really tanked the sales of Horizon. But
Yeah.
I mean, they still did well. But I can say
it tanked the sales. It just made people more buyer cautious for about a month.
Right. Nothing was going to dethrone Ragnarok anyways, but I could see where if you wanted to make the most profit possible off of it, that you would, that would be a case. They do this, like about we compare things to movies and other media. They do this with movies and stuff all the time too, especially superhero content, because that's what people eat up. So they'll kind of stack around each other. The one. It'll be fine.
Yeah,
it'll be fine.
And it's going to be a good game, and everyone knows the Miyamoto quote: "A bad game that is released was a bad game forever," which is not really true anymore, but was true whenever he said it. A delayed game will be good eventually. Allegedly. I don't know about that.
The one that's really strange, moving on to the next topic, is that Arc Raiders was delayed into 2023 as team focuses on a team shooter Project Discovery. Now, this is a game that, was kind of unaware of until I sat down and watched the trailers and stuff for. It looks really, really cool.
Yeah, it's got a unique aesthetic despite being set in a very overrun
And it looks like a lot of it is done too.
Yeah.
And they're just like, nah, we're just going to...
It's confusing because this game was
Not to work on it, just to delay it.
Yeah, it's confusing because this game was announced in 2021. This is actually Robbie's most anticipated game for 2022. Whenever we did our video at the beginning of the year, he talked about how this was the thing he was most excited for. And then we hadn't heard anything since the Game Awards last year. And so it's strange to me that despite that game being announced first and it looking like it was pretty far into early production or even
they had gameplay footage,
nearing like beta production.
Yeah.
That they're gonna delay it for this new project. And dude, developers, I need you to chill out. All right, let's real talk for a second. All right, just you and me and Royden. We're just gonna talk about this for a second. All right, come a little closer. Stop making team shooters. Stop making hero shooters. Make something new. Arc Raiders was an interesting concept that looked like it was going to do something new for cooperative gaming. And instead you're making a team shooter? Stop. Get some help. All right.
I'm back. What did y'all talk about?
The game industry and I are getting a divorce. No.
Was it my fault?
I don't want to talk about it.
Oh.
But it's not really clear why Embark decided to do this. And for those of you that don't know, Embark Studios is made up of previous Battlefront and Battlefield developers, including the previous head of EA's DICE Studios. So it's strange to me that these veterans decided to not scrap, but push back or put on the back burner a far more promising looking project.
Exactly, and like we said, not if you haven't looked up the gameplay footage and also like the in-engine,
playing over us.
Yeah, and the in-engine stuff, like you're watching it now, but it's new. It looks innovative. It looks like just the design of it is something that we haven't seen since they went for the early 80s aesthetic and everything else.
A grungy 80s sci-fi aesthetic.
Now it does, like you were saying, feel a lot like Destiny, but
yeah, anything that's cooperative and it features sci-fi elements and it has like special abilities or whatever feels either like Destiny, or if it's more militaristic, it feels like the Division.
But to push it, like when you've seen all this and how interesting it looks and what it plays like, to push it to like and not have a reason why you push it, like they didn't. If it was delayed because they're like, look, we just need more time. Like they didn't even come out and say that. They're like, no, we're delaying it to work on this other thing. That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
That is, you have the thing. Put out the thing.
Look, I'll just say this, Jason Schreier over at Bloomberg, you break all the news stories. I need you to get out there and find out what in the hell's going on with Arc Raiders because I want to play it. But I also
want to play my Atari lookalike.
Yeah, I want to know what's going on. This is strange. Can you investigate Midnight Suns while you're at it? All right, thanks. If you'll just call me. We're definitely friends in real life.
Absolutely. Tekken 8 announced, kind of.
Hell yeah, sort of. It's
cautiously. Yeah.
Yeah. It was. I mean, there's not really anything else that it could be, but I guess there is the off chance that it's like a Tag Tournament 3 instead of a, mainline Tekken title. But
yeah.
Those of you who watched the 10 best PS Plus games video I did know that Kazuya's smile from Tekken 2 is one of the creepiest things in existence, and that's what they used in this trailer. And then, bam,
updated graphics.
Next up, or I can't remember what it said. Who's
sure.
Next? Yeah, it just said sure. But
said, you get it.
Yeah, and so that was announced alongside some new balancing going on for Tekken 7 as we head into the back half of the Esports season for Tekken 7's World Tour tournaments.
Right.
Which ends, I believe, in February of next year with the grand finals happening in Amsterdam.
How excited are you for this? Because people who have watched this show, the dozens of you out there, thank you. But the people who have watched this show don't want my opinion on fighter games or on platform fighter games. So what do you think of this? What is your...
Tekken 7 came out in 2017 and is still one of my favorite fighting games currently available. But anytime, look, fighting games are a weird spot. I'm bothered by the constant releases of shooters sometimes.
Yeah.
Because it feels like there's too much. But like Tekken 7 could exist for the next 10 years and it would still be one of the best fighting games out there. But for some reason, I'm super excited to play the exact same characters in the exact same game. Basically just, you know, transition to a new engine and a new graphic style. It'll be prettier. It'll be 4K all the way, you know, from the ground up. It'll run on Unreal Engine 5, which will be better physics. The hits will feel crunchier. It'll involve the DualSense controller for PlayStation. There's all kinds of cool things that can happen with it, and I'm excited about it because it's just new Tekken. It's just like Mortal Kombat. Every year people are like, well, why are they doing another Mortal Kombat? Because I want to play a new, they're going to do a new thing and it's going to be fun.
I want it. No, but even then, Mortal Kombat is sort of, it went from when we were kids. I mean, there's what, 13?
We're 12 or 11 in.
Okay, so
12 will be next.
They've taken time between the releases, but it felt like when we were kids, like they would come out every other year or something like that. But now it feels like they've even slowed that down. So like a new Mortal Kombat is
it used to be every like 2 to 3 years. What I
remember when 10 came out, it was a big deal because it felt like a huge
9 was
leap
the first
in time.
like reboot of this series, the first like new reboot. 10 was a complete revamp of the system, and 11 was a overhaul of how that system plays out, really feeding into like customization. Same thing with Tekken. Tekken's always been the game where there's 100 moves per character. There's 30 plus characters. And to a certain degree, I feel like fighting games are now defined, like these big name fighting games are now defined by their rosters. So I'm even like less excited about gameplay additions and more just excited to see who made the roster this time. It's like finding out who's on what teams for, during like NFL draft season.
Right.
You're like, who's gonna be where I want them to be? You're like really excited about it, but like, it's still going to be football. You still
right. It's still the same thing.
Some of your favorite people are going to be there.
You may still stink at it too.
Yeah. I'm definitely still going to be bad at it.
Right.
Christian's still going to style on me with Paul's 10-hit combo because he'll definitely be there, and that's exciting. I'm excited for it, and
I'm glad you're excited.
Yeah. Street Fighter 6 looks great. I'm hoping that both of them turn out excellent, and I'm very surprised we didn't get an Injustice 3 announcement.
Last time I really played Street Fighter was on like I had to put quarters in the machine to actually play it.
I think Royden just volunteered to come play Street Fighter on Weekend Warrior in 2023.
Sure.
Leave a comment in the comment section below if you want Royden to get destroyed in Street Fighter. I suck at Street Fighter.
Dude, I am button mashing like crazy. I am awful.
For most people, Street Fighter is get 1 or 2 hits, run away, get 1 or 2 hits, run away, because learning combos in Street Fighter is not something that you do if you're a normal person.
If you have time on your hands?
Yeah, because Street Fighter does not like people to be good at it.
Modern Warfare 2 beta announcements.
Yeah, we've known about the beta for a while.
Cool.
I'm excited for this one.
I'm excited for the game. I don't download. I just kind of, not even out of principle or anything, I just never download betas, which is kind of stupid. Like, why wouldn't you
betas
do that?
Are your chance to test out
to like play the game. I just have never.
I've heard that mentality a lot, for not in your way where you're just like, it just never really crossed my mind.
I just never did it.
But I've heard people be like, they want me to pre-order to get into a beta, and that's why they just want my money. I'm like, but you can cancel the pre-order if you don't, and then you get to try the game. So if you don't like the game, you cancel your pre-order. Guys, if there's a beta, participate. It's your one chance to actually have your voice heard. It's your chance to try a thing. Like, the number one complaint I hear about the game industry is that, not the number one complaint, but one of the complaints I hear about the game industry is that there's no try before you buy really available anymore. Demos are hardly ever out, and when they are out, they're snippets of the game.
You remember the demo disc?
Dude, I miss demo discs.
Really?
Bring back demo disc, yeah. Pizza Hut needs to bring back
Taco Bell and everything else. Or Burger King, bring back Sneak King is what we're saying.
Give me like demo USB sticks.
In your We put it in your fries. Don't eat it.
Yeah, it's somewhere hidden in your burger is a tiny micro USB.
You swallow your demo. I just think no, yeah, I'm not better than a beta. Like, don't get me wrong. I've just never gone out of my way to download one or play it
I
or
normally
even
do
pre-order.
the betas for these games because it's a chance for me to really get my teeth into the game ahead of time. And for games like Call of Duty, where the 3 developers that work on the series kind of make or break whether or not I care about it. Infinity Ward did a good job with the previous Modern Warfare game in 2019, so I'm excited by the prospect of Modern Warfare 2. But also, all the stuff with Warzone is just super not my thing.
Right.
So I'm hoping none of that bleeds into the more tactical styles that came from Modern Warfare originally, so I can play in the way that I would like to play, which is where I don't have to worry about people, slip and sliding all over the place and doing 360 no-scopes on me every 2 seconds.
Right. Did they are driving ATVs through buildings?
Yeah.
Did they announce that there was going to be a separate multiplayer outside of Warzone for this?
Yeah, so there's still going to be standard Call of Duty multiplayer with Team Deathmatch, and then Warzone 2 is launching shortly after or alongside. I can't remember.
Because as much as I try to shake it, I was raised and nurtured on Team Deathmatch
hell yeah.
for years, and that is my ilk, and I am sticking to it. It's like a I don't know, if you're 21 and up, it's like your favorite drink. Like, you can't get rid of your. I just can't quit it. Sorry.
For me, like, Call of Duty and fighting games were the makeup of what made. Most people don't know this because most of you don't know me personally, but or well, I guess some of you do, but it doesn't matter. I dealt with a lot of medical problems in high school, and I was on homebound for about 6 months. And during that 6 months, my dad got me my first major gaming console since the PS2, really, which was the PS3. And he got me Modern Warfare 2 and I think Mortal Kombat at the time. And I played so much of that game and that's how I kept up with my friends. That's how I got a chance to really express my aggression. There were days where I couldn't get out of my bed because I just was in too much pain and stuff. And so I just sit there and get out my aggression in matches of Call of Duty. So it holds a special, therapeutic place in my heart. Despite all of its flaws, I still love a good Call of Duty game. So,
and despite the old party chats being the worst.
Yeah.
So you wouldn't survive the lobbies from Modern Warfare. Let's bring it back a notch.
Drinking lead spoon, eating 2007 party chat talking.
Yeah, if you couldn't survive it, you'd be too soft. Well, let's reel it back in and say maybe it wasn't. Maybe it was a bad place to begin with.
That it was a bad place.
Yeah.
Maybe
let's reel that one back in.
Yeah.
Anyway, the open beta for Modern Warfare 2, the Electric Boogaloo, the second one
should be what it's called.
Yeah, the new version of Modern Warfare 2, not the classic one that you love.
Soap's New Groove.
Yeah, that beta is on actually PS5 and PS4 early, September 20th, and then let's see, Xbox early access, Xbox and PC early access is September 22nd and 26th, right?
So, the early access beta is September 16th to September 20th.
Okay.
The open beta for PlayStation is 18th through the 20th. Then a second beta weekend will happen the following week.
I should have actually read the notes.
September 22nd through 26th for early access on PC and Xbox. And then an open beta for everyone from the 22nd, or from the 24th to the 26th for Xbox and PC, and the 22nd to the 26th on PlayStation.
Also, we'll probably continue to have cross. What's the word I'm looking for?
Crossplay, yeah.
Crossplay.
Crossplay is still expected to be a thing. Cross progression is also expected to be tied to the game this time. They haven't officially announced that, but there's been plenty of rumblings about it. On top of all this, they've announced a new streaming event that they're going to do called Call of Duty Next, which will launch on September 15th and is going to be a franchise showcase. That'll be our first real look If you don't follow NFL players at the multiplayer.
NFL kickers.
NFL kickers. To see the first look at real multiplayer gameplay. We'll get some more information about Warzone 2, some more information about what DLC is going to look like going beyond, because it's going to be a little different this time.
And for all the F1 weirdos out there, yes, I'm talking to you, all the people that have gotten into F1 over the past couple of years in the pandemic. There's so many people, like you're looking at me, there's so many people that are into F1.
Oh, I believe it.
It's insane.
I've seen it.
Like people that have never even sniffed NASCAR or anything like that. They're like, I can't wait to get up early and watch.
I love to sniff a NASCAR in the morning.
Well, I mean, look, F1 and NASCAR are two completely different things, but people that had no, like...
Going circles?
Yeah.
I'm just giving you a hard time.
Well, people that never even sniffed racing sports to begin with, all of a sudden are like, oh, I really care about Lewis Hamilton, and it just is driving me insane early on Saturday and Sunday mornings. I'm like, no, you don't.
You don't know who he is.
But neither do I, but I'm just saying, no, you don't, is what I'm saying. Anyway, they released an F1 map, so that's Call of Duty coming in hot with what's hot in the streets, F1.
That's been a thing in recent video games, too, because now that I think about it, there's an F1 or a Formula One style thing.
The obsession with it is insane. I can't.
Hitman 3.
People are going to get mad at me in the comments, but like the obsession with it is insane. It's like, where did all of this come from?
Well, yeah.
I think Drive to Survive on Netflix was the biggest like draw to it. But I was like, all of a sudden I wake up on Saturday and they're just like, oh, I can't believe that Mercedes did that, and I'm like, what?
Yeah, it's like number 2
We're rooting on
trending.
companies.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah,
I don't get those kinds of explosions.
But the F1 map doesn't look good on Call of Duty, by the way.
It's weird. We talked about this a little bit before the show, but like the technology for Modern Warfare 2's single player stuff, where they're talking about, oh, we've got intricately developed wave simulation. So the water simulation now independently affects objects as you're moving through them. So when you're on the boat, every wave is an individual simulation wave. So it'll be different for everyone how the crates move on this one map and stuff. And and then wetness actually affects like your ability to grip things and stuff. And so they're talking about all these crazy cool innovations. It looks really good. It's very polished. And then you look at this multiplayer map preview, and I'm like, that looks like Black Ops Cold War.
Yeah.
That looks like Vanguard. This is the same game again. Like I hate that term where people are like, Call of Duty's the same every year, because it's moderate, but there are changes every year. That's why I like some of them and not others. But this like whole aesthetic for the multiplayer that carries through all of it just makes it feel cheaper every year.
Yeah.
Because if the graphics on the single player stuff are improving, but the multiplayer is getting shafted on that
reskinned.
Yeah, it just doesn't look great. And maybe it'll look better whenever it's finally out and stuff.
More than likely, we're probably complaining, but it didn't look good. It kind of looked like that, which actually looked like an interesting
game. Rocket League.
Yeah, it looked like Toy Soldiers to me.
Yeah,
that game.
bit.
I think we may be getting that wrong. It's like a knockoff of the movie Toy Soldiers.
Yeah.
Where it's like a battle royale, but with toys. It looks like that.
It's a lot of fun. It's out on Switch.
District 9 director Neil Blomkamp, previously announced game is backed by NFT blockchain BS.
Yeah, that's my headline.
I've just been reading headlines because.
No, I'm just the blockchain BS thing. But it's Neil Blomkamp. Hello, Neil Blomkamp. You say it.
Neil Blomkamp.
Yeah, that's what I said, right?
Yeah, you were there.
All right, cool. I feel like I was saying it wrong.
I'm going to look that up to make sure that's right, but I'm pretty sure.
I'm pretty sure. So, previously director of District 9, Elysium, everyone's favorite robot Chappie.
The instant classic Chappie that you all remember and love.
That definitely wasn't
like a huge flop.
Super weird.
Yeah.
He's now... Last year, he announced he was bringing a battle royale style survival game that would feature thousands of players on an island called Off the Grid. It was going to be the world's most unique battle royale game ever. And by unique, he means blockchain based.
I don't get it.
So
what do you mean?
NFTs are optional. So I think what this means is that in the store, like in Fortnite, you'll be able to purchase NFTs of in-game items, which then you will have the digital rights to own in the game. If this game flops, they shut that server down. Then you don't own anything. You guys see the problem with NFTs? I feel like we've been over this a bunch of times, but do you see the problem? When they sunset the servers for Halo, if everything, all the skins and stuff in Halo were running on NFTs, those would cease to exist. You would not have access to them. You don't own them because they're not real. We're all clear on that? I feel like I'm going crazy because every time I feel like I've pointed out how stupid it is, we hear about another one. And for a prestigious director who was previously backed by Peter Jackson to get involved in this stuff, I mean, not only does it just go to show
he's had such a strange career too. Like we were talking off camera about his career, and he's big into, well, one, sci-fi, but two, the video game space. He's always been linked to making a Halo movie, and that's kind of what District 9 devolved into, was like stuff from carryover from a Halo movie that got greenlit, by the way.
Yeah.
Like that
was originally written by Peter Jackson.
Yeah, the Halo stuff before the TV series we talked about it episodes ago, has been really weird and marred, and like they could never get it off the ground. So he made District 9. District 9 was nominated for Oscars.
It was great.
He was like the next big thing. He was Peter Jackson's protege.
I liked Elysium a lot too.
Yeah, and people enjoyed that movie, and then it just kind of torpedoed after Chappie and everything else. But he's obviously a visionary director.
He's a smart
really
writer.
Really kind of understands what he wants to say, and obviously is obsessed with like video games and things too. He's always been linked to video game projects.
Yeah.
But why for the blockchain? Why for the blockchain? Why?
I think that there's this weird, and I hope this is what the case is. I think that there's this weird stigma that, like, if you're not getting into the gaming industry as a movie director or whatever, for the reason of because new technology, and to do something new, and so you're pushing the forefront of the technology while being a storyteller still. I feel like there's this idea that like that's not. You're being like grafted onto the game industry instead of being part of it.
Right.
And so then it's like a corporate sellout thing to them.
They paid you a lot of money to kind of attach your name to this thing.
But also,
from the director of District 9.
I feel like the things that have happened to like Guillermo del Toro, who has worked on 3 games. All 3 were highly anticipated games. The last one being the Silent Hills project with him and Kojima partnered up. He did play a role in Death Stranding a little bit, but he was literally playing a role in Death Stranding. He was
he was a character
in the game. So I think that seeing what happens to directors who get involved in the gaming industry maybe makes people think that they have to do this crazy stuff to.
Well, that also continues Kojima's like really weird relationship with all these actors and stuff. Like
every game's just an excuse to hang out with Norman Reedus and Guillermo del Toro.
Yeah, I was gonna say who's the other actor in there that was in like he and please cut this, but he and
Mads Mikkelsen.
Matt, thank you.
Yeah.
How do I forget? He's the crazy.
Yeah.
He's the most interesting looking face on the entire planet.
Yeah, and one of the coolest names.
Like he and Mads Mikkelsen are just like best friends.
Yeah.
IRL.
Yeah.
And so it's just like an excuse for him to continue to like hang out with those guys. But I don't know. Yeah, attaching. Usually it's like. We've seen people go more from gaming to, with relative success, more from gaming to film media than from film media to success with games, I feel like.
Yeah, and I think
but also, like, when they've directed them. Now, when they've written stories, I feel like it's gone better for games.
Well, so a game adapting a movie story is easier in that they have the source material and then they just got to fill in the hours of gameplay in between, so they get to tell more story in that universe. So a good storyteller with a good movie IP to do it with will do a good job. But there's this mentality for movie directors to toss out the source material in some ways.
Well, no,
and try
I'm
to
not
do
saying
it
like a
new
direct
version.
adaptation. I'm saying like when these creatives will write long, independent, original scripts and stories for games. That's happened a few times.
Yeah.
But we've seen just like normally I think now more so than it has been, especially with Sony like making just a normal movie, like a PlayStation movie studio. Like that's just a thing now with the Uncharted movie and so on and so forth.
They're trying to take more ownership over their IPs.
Yeah, so we're seeing the creative directors from those games go and assist, like be producers and such on actual film.
Neil Druckmann on the Uncharted film and on the Last of Us series. Yeah, I mean, I see that a lot, and then, yeah, I don't know. I really hope that it's for the reason. I mean, there's no good reason to be involving NFTs in any of this. I don't really care if your idea of getting into the game industry has to be tied intrinsically to higher like technology or whatever. That's ridiculous. Drop the NFT stuff. Also, don't lie to your customers flat out ahead of time and not like if you're gonna bless you.
Thank you.
If you're gonna do blockchain NFT garbage, at least be upfront with it. People will be less mad at you for being upfront than they will feeling like you tried to hide it for a long time and then surprise announce it shortly before the release of your product.
Still just don't know how you're gonna incorporate this stuff into
in real dumb ways
into games.
Yeah.
Like I understand like they're in principle that's basically what you're getting with these skins and stuff anyway, but
right, but that's a digital items that you only own. Like there's already a preconceived notion of if I buy a skin in Warzone, that skin's not going to be mine forever to take into other games.
Right.
NFTs are trying to do this thing where they're like, oh, you'll just be able to take it everywhere. It's a digital item. It lives in the cloud and is magic. It made of fairy dust and we'll be able to go from game to game. It'll transform magically. That's not how the technology works. It'll never work that way. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise.
We got to use the energy of one smaller country to generate
not worth it.
Generate this JPEG.
Straight up not worth it, guys.
Take this one away.
All right, so last topic of the day. EA and the NFL have renewed their contract for both their esports and license. What's interesting is that starting this next esports season for Madden 23, the football season in real life, NFL football season in real life, will run concurrently with the esports season, so that because they real-time update their player stats.
Yeah, so when people are injured and stuff,
it will basically mirror NFL, which will be interesting because every year before the Super Bowl, they do the Madden's pick, which is they simulate the game in Madden a few times or whatever, and then whoever wins the most times is the winner, and that's how they predict who's going to win. And they've been right a few times. I think they were right last year.
It's about as equal as like a dolphin hitting a ball or whatever and it landing
or
and whatever.
Puppy pigs.
Yeah, exactly. True. That'll be interesting, especially if you're playing with real-time rosters.
Yeah.
Because inevitably, as in football more than any other sport, somebody's going to an important player is going to tear their ACL or get concussions and be out week to week or whatever.
You should have to decide the medical bills and stuff in the game.
Right.
Have to deal with the repercussions of the injuries.
There used to be a thing in Madden, I believe, also in NCAA football, which was also EA, where you would be playing with a created player or something, and occasionally, like if you simmed, it would be like most of the injuries you would get would be like 1 to 2 weeks. There was occasionally where it would be like broken neck, end of career.
Yeah, no kidding.
You'll remember this if you played, where it's like you're done. You're just done with the game. You're like, what? I'm done with the game. You're like, yeah, he's just done. So
it's crazy to get a Madden fatality.
Yeah, but it.
I want to hear John Madden yell fatality.
R.I.P. to my guy. But I'm interested to like we talked at length about EA last week. I'm interested to see if they can improve on Madden any, because man, it's been bad. It really has been, and because of that, personally, I haven't played, I've played, but I haven't purchased like the last couple, just because, and I've waited until they've come out free on PlayStation Store. They'll eventually like release it for free or for like $10 or something like that. So, well, every year since, right before they release, like I'm sure that 21 is, or 22 right now, I'm sure is.
Yeah, it's super cheap.
Super cheap
as soon as they
or
announce
free.
The new one, the other one becomes.
And they used to release them as Game of the Month too, which was really funny.
Yeah, sometimes. Yeah.
So, I mean, if they can, they just have to improve. Like, I understand why EA and NFL have sort of this marriage. It works perfectly for both of them, and it has now for my entire lifetime.
Yeah.
So I'm just like,
and why would they go with someone else whenever Madden's a proven cash cow for them?
Exactly. I mean, but the best football game ever was 2K5, NFL 2K, ESPN NFL 2K5. You'll know what I'm talking about. It really hasn't improved since then, which is crazy. And it also is just glitchy and buggy. And
they've claimed that this is the most polished Madden they've ever put out.
Sure.
Which, is, I feel, a step in the right direction, because at least they're admitting that the previous ones were super glitchy and bad.
Yeah.
So we'll see if this turns out better. Hopefully we'll get a chance to take a look at the game ahead of time before it comes out, and then let you guys know.
They always release inevitably they'll release a beta like everything else, and or a demo, and everybody will be like, this stinks, and then a billion people will download it.
The most interesting thing to me here is, though, EA took a move at the beginning of this year to move away from FIFA. So starting, I think, in 2024, FIFA will no longer be the name of their soccer. It'll be EA Football Club. Or something like that. I can't remember the exact name. They released a trailer basically trying to move away from the FIFA license. FIFA said that they were going to still release FIFA games with a different developer.
I'm going to tell you right now, kind of good on EA for doing that, because if you don't know, go look up segments on YouTube about what FIFA is. Literally, you think the NFL is bad? FIFA is awful.
Just Google FIFA scandal. You'll find 1,000.
Yeah, it's insane. John Oliver has a really good, not to promote another show, but John Oliver has a really good bit on that, like 20-minute rundown.
Go support that show so HBO Max doesn't cancel it.
Yeah, exactly. We talked about that last week too.
Show.
But that's an interesting to move away from the thing that is like, it's more popular than Madden, I would imagine.
Yeah, it is. It's like 3 times as popular.
Well, especially because of Europe.
Yeah, worldwide, it's significantly more popular. But there's also this stigma towards, not even stigma, it's rightfully earned criticism towards FIFA across the planet now.
Right.
So I do think that it's a better idea, and they can include teams in different leagues better without having to go through FIFA. So they can include any club from anywhere in the world that wants to partner with them.
Right.
Can join up. So I think that's an interesting change of pace, because now instead of having to go through an official channel like you would with the NFL or with FIFA, they can literally just be like, hey, we've got a team that plays, against these other teams also, but we don't get to participate in FIFA because they don't let us. Or, we didn't pay our dues or whatever,
Right. There was a competing, I forget what the name of, they have been putting out competing football games for soccer games for
AEC or something like that.
Yeah, I'm going to mess that up, so I don't even want to try. But they have been putting out competing games. I'm not quite sure. Like they were the competitor in the 90s and early 2000s. They went away and have since come back.
Right.
So it'll be interesting to see if they go with them. I'm not quite even sure who makes those games, but. Yeah, that's an interesting thing, because it is a huge brand.
Yeah.
But FIFA is the bad place.
EA feels that they're better off without them. So we'll see if that pays off. We'll see if Madden's any better.
I just have to say I doubt it. But
Jason Schreier, come through for me on those stories. I need to know more about those things that I'm too lazy to do investigative reporting myself. And I have a day job.
Absolutely.
For more on what we do here, you catch more Uplink in the description down below, where we've got the playlist of all the latest episodes. There's a thing for the last episode right here. You can see that, or maybe it's right here. It's going to be around, you guys know I don't know where it is until I put it on there. It's around here somewhere. Last episode right there, you can check out some of the new trailer we did for the channel so you can get an idea of what we do here if you're not already aware. Be sure to subscribe. We put out so much damn content. I do a lot of work, and so does he, and so do the guys in the back.
I do a little bit. He does most of it.
We work hard to bring you guys a lot of stuff. So if you can subscribe and share with your friends and family, help us grow. We can do more. Especially if you want me to be able to have time to do investigative journalism, because I don't got time for that right now. We'll be back again next week with another uplink, and then until then, catch you guys next time.